So today what we're going to do is we are going to show you guys how to make this recipe right here, this cosmetic wash. It's an original 1860 recipe. Those of you that know us know that we don't just do 18th century. We're actually spanning from Nostradamus as one of our earliest recipes, and then we just got a really awesome apothecary book from the 1930s with the original writing still. So our next era is going to be the 1930s, so we kind of span everything. This is a specific Civil War recipe called To Prepare a Cosmetic Soap for Washing the Hands. This is from 1860. This is the original recipe. So we compiled a kit for you guys, especially for those who want to make their own historical recipes. The kit is going to actually make 2 jars, and then you'll have extra with a little bit of extra soap. You're going to get all your stuff in bottles with wax. This is your finished product here. It should look like this, nice and creamy. And you're going to get a lot. So if you want to make one and give one away, and then you can use them for washing your hands, it's going to be awesome. You're going to need some heat, a little bit extra water, and then of course if you want to put any oils in or whatever, that is completely up to you. So let's begin. To prepare a cosmetic soap for washing the hands, you're going to need a bowl, preferably a Pyrex bowl, or a glass bowl that can withstand heat, your Castile soap, your scented water, and your bottle of cornmeal. And then you're going to need a spoon and also a jar to put your finished product in, a shredder, an old shredder, works really well, and a knife. So once you get all those, we're gonna start with your recipe card. And it gives you the instructions. If you want to follow them by yourself, by all means, go right ahead. If you want to follow them with the help of this video, that is okay too. The instructions aren't always as they appear historically. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to grade our Castile soap. And if you don't know what Castile soap is a very, very old soap. It is made specifically of olive oil. And when you think of historical soaps, Castile soap was used for washing the face, washing the hands, and the body, where you would use lye soap for other things like laundry. So what I've done is I've put the grated soap into the dish. I've added a little bit of water. This is where you might want to add your extra water that you have. Save your scented water for the end, and add just a little bit at a time. The next thing you're going to need is heat. So what I've done is I've taken my copper pot and I've heated just a little bit of water, and I put my Pyrex bowl into the pot and I'm stirring. This is going to help dissolve the soap. As you can see, it's getting rather bubbly. I have put a little bit extra water in. And the trick here is not getting it too hot and not adding too much water at one time. So it's a very slow process. The heat is going to eventually melt everything together. If you want to do this in the microwave, that is another option. It's a little bit quicker. This is how they would have done it historically. So it does take some time. It takes a lot of whipping and stirring and beating that soap in with the heat. Make sure that it's not too hot, that your water is boiling, but that it's hot enough that you can see how everything is melting together. And we still have a few extra pieces. It's a little bit watery right now. We're going to add some of that extra soap, and that's the thing. You have to work in steps. So just because you would grade a lot of the soap and put all of your soap in, that's not necessarily going to make the recipe. You're going to have to grate a little bit of soap, put a little bit of water in, melt it all together, grate a little bit of more soap, put a little bit more water in, melt that all together, and keep stirring. As you can see here, I've put about 3 or 4 different handfuls in of the Castile soap. And it is pretty watery. If you're looking at the bowl, and as you can see, I have just a little bit of soap left over. Now, the amount of soap left over that you have will be different. You'll know once you get to that consistency where it's really stringy and gummy and almost like a pudding, or like silly putty would be a really great example. It's going to be like a thick dough or like a thick frosting. And so in between this is where you are kind of adding your scented water and you're adding your other water. And preferably you're going to want to add distilled water. Usually, historically, they would have you add rainwater. So if you want to be really, really historic, you know, add some rainwater. So what we're doing here is we're putting in our cornmeal. And eventually we're going to be adding the whole bottle. But you're going to want to stir it in sections. As you can see, it's seeming to get stickier and stickier, and that's exactly what you want. All the soap has dissolved in the water and the scented water. You're adding your cornmeal, maybe a little bit of extra water. It's really to the consistency that you prefer. You know, the recipe talks about making it to a smooth paste, and I think that's a really great description. So that is your goal, to make it to a smooth paste. You might be asking yourself, there's no real instructions, you know, how do I know if I'm making it right? And that's the beauty of historical recipes. A lot of historical recipes don't have exact measurements like we're used to today. So they will say, you know, scrape your Castile soap, you're going to mix drops of water until it becomes a smooth paste, and then you're going to pour it in your bowl, and when it's cold you're going to add your scented water, beat with a silver spoon, and add your cornmeal. And they just expect that you know exactly what to do and that it's going to turn out. So it's really up to your preference, how you like things. And that is just part of following a historical recipe. After you're satisfied with the consistency, you can put it into your jars. Now the jars that I've chosen are probably a little small for what this is going to end up being. When you put it in, then find a cork or a soft surface that you can kind of pound the jar on to get all the air bubbles out. This will harden and it will make soap. So if you want to put it in silicone molds, today they have silicone molds for soap, you know, feel free to do that. Or you can take the little old-fashioned tin Jello molds, and you'll have to, if you're going to do that, you're going to have to put petroleum jelly all in the inside, because you're going to have to make sure you can pop that mold out, but you could put them in there as well. You'll get a lot of soap with this. So feel free to make one for yourself, give one away to a friend, and you can kind of see how I'm doing this if you're going to put them in jars like this. You would fill it, and then you would kind of hit it onto the soft surface to get rid of the air bubbles. So you can see it's kind of a long process. Right there was an air bubble, and I am not a big fan of air bubbles, so you have to get those out. So I just wanted to read the instructions for you again. And again, this comes from the Virginia Housewife of 1860. It says, scrape your Castile soap, making small fine pieces. Mix drops of water until it becomes a smooth paste. Pour into a bowl, and when cold, add your scented water, and beat with a silver spoon until mixed. Add the cornmeal and combine. Keep in small pots closely covered. The admission of air will make it hard. This proves an exceptional cosmetic soap for washing the hands. The addition of the cornmeal into the soap makes it a really good exfoliating soap. It's going to take all the dirt off your hands. It's going to keep them really soft, especially with the cold winter months. It's just going to keep them really soft and moisturized. So I really enjoyed this soap. I hope you had a really great time making this historical recipe from 1860. And let us know if you would like more kits like this. Enjoy. Take this to your living history events. Show your friends and family that you made an original recipe from 1860.